With the T.I. situation, if he did that, you're a fucking rat too. I don't spare no motherfucking body. Because if you doing anything wrong, you doing anything criminal-wise, and you cooperate with law enforcement to get you out of trouble, that means you're cooperating. That means you're a rat.
Do you have any questions for me?
No.
You need anything to go with you?
My phone.
Your phone? Where's your phone at?
Your phone.
We're in the car.
You search you.
I'm not looking for phones. I'm looking for drugs and guns.
I gotta say something about this, bro. Dwayne Wade, you gone too fucking far, dog. That is a male. A 12-year-old. At 12, they don't even know what their next meal gonna be.
I had one of you niggas who done been to the penitentiary before, man. What happened when a motherfucker say somebody ain't right and they goddamn show their paperwork and they is right? What's the penalty for that? Can somebody tell me what is that punishable by? Somebody tell me that.
But I'm gonna tell you like this: when I saw that, I think T.I. fucking lying.
King Harris just can't stay out of the spotlight, and this time the noise is deafening. Forget the Waffle House fights, the reckless driving, and the skipped court dates. That was child's play compared to the storm. What makes it different? It didn't come from trolls or outsiders. It came from inside his own circle. His baby mama allegedly dropped a tape the internet, instantly labeled as a gay tape. And before anyone could check receipts, the chaos had already exploded. The wildfire spread faster than fact checks. Nobody paused to ask if it was real, fake, or staged. By the time questions hit the table, the feeds were already flooding. Likes, shares, duets, and wild takes pouring across TikTok, Twitter, and IG like a tidal wave. The crazy part? This wasn't brand new speculation. For years.
Tell me. It been 20 years, bro. It been 20 years. I figure if I wasn't built like that, it'll show by now. It been 20 years, bro. I done faced every challenge motherfucking that life could throw at me, man. You ain't seen me fold, you ain't seen me break down.
I need that at the
Whispers about King's sexuality have been floating through shady DM chains and toxic comment sections. This leak just poured gasoline on those old rumors. People online claimed he acted a little fruity. Others pushed the idea that the baby was just a cover-up. Whether fair or foul, the narrative had already been brewing in the background. And the moment that clip surfaced, it gave trolls fresh ammo to fire off the same tired storyline. Truth or lie didn't matter. On the internet, perception is reality. Once the crowd smells blood, it doesn't let go. It hunts. The pile-on was merciless. Memes dropped by the second. Edits popped up clowning King's image. Threads spun theories out of thin air, while strangers debated his personal life like it was public property. What should have been private turned into viral entertainment. And when that happens, the truth usually doesn't stand a chance. The internet doesn't care about facts. It only cares about the next laugh, the next post, the next chance to tear somebody down. Then Boosie jumped in and flipped the frame completely. Instead of just clowning King straight up, he shifted the crosshairs to T.I. himself, turning messy gossip into a war of receipts and reputation. What started as internet noise spiraled into a full-blown public brawl in hours. No filters, no checks, just chaos. And now, the Harris family has a fight on two fronts, online and in real life. That single move turned whispers into wildfire, dragging the whole house into flames. Suddenly, this wasn't just about King Harris's private life. This was a family feud with heavyweight rap energy. The internet stopped focusing only on King and started dissecting everything around him. Paternity rumors, his gangster cosplay, his messy public spirals, and Boosie's long-running beef with T.I. himself. The spotlight wasn't on King alone anymore. It was dragging the Harris name back into controversy, reviving old wounds that had barely healed. Even before this so-called tape surfaced, people were already side-eyeing King's situation with his baby mama. The moment she announced her pregnancy, fans smelled smoke. The first red flag? Her age. She was older than King, and the internet wasted no time accusing her of plotting. Comments popped off like, "Girl, you knew exactly what you're doing." Clips of King holding the baby and standing proudly next to her spread like wildfire, but instead of silencing the critics, the backlash only grew sharper. That's when the money talk exploded. Fans swore she only had that baby to secure the Harris bag. They said she saw the fame, the legacy, the connections, and decided to lock herself in by getting pregnant. King clapped back hard, posting side-by-side photos and calling the baby his twin, asking why anyone would deny what was obvious to him. But the harder he pushed, the louder the denial got. The internet didn't believe him, and trolls refused to let go of the narrative. Here's where it turned ugly. The baby drama didn't stay in the lane of paternity. It evolved into something bigger: loyalty, image, and cracks in the Harris dynasty. For years, whispers about King's sexuality had lingered in the background, and the second the baby mama got pregnant, people twisted it into a storyline. He's just trying to prove something. And when the alleged tapes surfaced, the trolls circled back to those same old whispers, pulling receipts and spinning it like proof of a long-planned cover-up. And this wasn't the first time people accused King of putting on a front. Critics have been calling him out for years, saying he was cosplaying a gangster lifestyle he never actually lived. He talked tough, inserted himself into beefs, and flexed like he was cut straight from the trenches. But then people reminded the world, this is T.I. and Tiny Son. He grew up around money, privilege, and spent much of his childhood at his grandma's house. That doesn't scream survival from the grind. That's why every time King jumped online yelling about being hood, the comments lit up with "be serious." Fans dragged him for forcing an image that didn't fit. It made his whole act look shaky, like he was staging a performance he couldn't keep up with. And you could see the pressure building. He was stuck fighting two battles at once, trying to prove he was a man and a father, while also convincing the world he was a hardened street figure. And that's where the cracks started showing. The boiling point came with one of his most infamous meltdowns, the viral Waffle House incident. King was caught on camera snapping at employees, screaming, arguing, and trying to flex street energy over fast food. The clip went nuclear, and the internet tore him apart. This is T.I. and Tiny Son acting like this? That wasn't just a viral moment. It was a turning point. To many, it was proof his public spiral wasn't just talk. It was playing out in real time. Even T.I. couldn't ignore it. He went live the very next day, baffled at why his son would stoop to yelling at a short-order cook. He admitted he and King's uncles tried drilling it into him, reminding King he lived a life people dreamed about, so why throw it away acting reckless? But the advice didn't stick. By 2024, King was back in the headlines again, this time for something even worse. Georgia police pulled him over after he nearly sideswiped a squad car leaving a gas station. Officers said they smelled weed pouring out of his BMW, spotted a gun on his hip, and when they ran his info, everything unraveled. They discovered a lingering warrant dating back to 2022, tied to charges like speeding, driving with a suspended license, and even a DUI. He was supposed to show up in court, but skipped, leaving that warrant hanging like a noose around his neck. When they finally caught him, the weight of those old charges came crashing down. The arrest video of King Harris spread like wildfire, showing him in cuffs, marching to county jail under the flashing red and blue lights. On camera, King looked calm, but fans weren't buying it. To them, this was the ultimate proof that his spiral wasn't an act. It was real. They said this is what happens when privilege collides with reality, when someone plays gangster until the streets, the law, and the weight of consequences catch up all at once. The internet tore into him, dragging his name through every comment section, saying this was the day fantasy met facts. Inside that footage, you even hear the officer laying down King's rights, reading him his Miranda warning, while casually pointing out the weed and gun they just found. He told King someone had to take the charge, pressing him for answers. But King, for once, kept his mouth shut. He asked only for his phone, sitting locked away in his car. The exchange was tense, stripped of all the internet bravado. This wasn't a flex. It was the moment reality came crashing in. And while King's life already looked chaotic, that was just the beginning. The leak tape rumors turned the spiral into a full-on firestorm. Overnight, fans connected the dots, saying his baby situation, his street persona, and even the public meltdowns were all distractions from something deeper. That's when Boosie jumped in. But instead of aiming at King, Boosie went for T.I., turning the scandal into a stage for old beef and buried grudges. Suddenly, it wasn't just King's downfall. It was a family feud on display, fueled by years of tension. See, Boosie thrives on controversy, especially around sexuality. But his history made his attack look hypocritical. He once faced backlash for publicly disrespecting his own daughter, Iviona, with homophobic remarks, later forced to apologize on Instagram. Fans didn't forget. So when he clowned King while his own family wasn't spotless, the internet called him out instantly. Still, Boosie knew what he was doing. This wasn't random gossip. It was a calculated shot at T.I., and everyone watching could feel it. The move didn't come out of nowhere either. Boosie's career has been riddled with legal troubles, money struggles, and non-stop drama. Not long ago, he struck a plea deal on serious gun charges with real prison time looming over his head. But instead of laying low, he was online clowning King Harris. Why? Because this wasn't just clout chasing. It was about keeping his long-standing feud with T.I. alive. To get it, you have to rewind. That feud traces back years, straight to Boosie inserting himself into Dwayne Wade's family business. After Wade's daughter came out as transgender, Boosie blasted her online with transphobic comments. The backlash was massive, but one of the strongest voices against him was T.I. Tip didn't hold back. He went live, told Boosie to mind his business, and demanded he stop disrespecting another man's child. That moment lit the fuse, setting off a rivalry that's only grown nastier with time. Boosie wasn't about to let T.I. have the last word. He clapped back with one of the ugliest accusations in the book, calling T.I. a snitch over his old federal gun case. For T.I., that hit different. He's built his brand on street credibility. So an accusation like that cut deep. He came back swinging, saying his record spoke for itself. 20 years in the game, never folded, never cracked, never needed to clear his name. And he made it clear that if Boosie wanted smoke, he was ready for it. From there, things only escalated. That same summer, T.I. found himself in hot water after admitting he once accompanied his daughter to the gynecologist to check her virginity. The internet exploded with outrage, and Boosie didn't waste a moment. He blasted T.I.'s parenting as controlling and invasive. Tip fired back instantly, telling Boosie he had no room to judge anyone's family. That was the turning point. The slick remarks became full-on personal attacks. At that point, it wasn't about rap or music anymore. It wasn't even just about King. It was about legacy, fatherhood, manhood, and the credibility of two Southern heavyweights. Every word, every post, every clapback carried the weight of years of animosity. And with King caught in the middle, the Harris family name wasn't just trending. It was burning under the hottest spotlight it had seen in years.